What's up, Canada? Great Northern Discussions. I'm your host, Kevin Tucker, back with another episode. And this time we had CEO of the CCFR, Canadian Coalition of Firearm Rights. And obviously we dive into the liberal gun buyback that's happening in Canada. And Rod's got a bunch of updates for us. It was an excellent conversation. We talked all things guns, and we talked about even some of the differences in guns, assault rifles to rimfire. What are the differences? What does it mean for Canadians? And we touched on some other political issues too across Canada, one being Alberta separation, and of course, Mark Carney. Anyway, excellent episode. Rod is a real genuine guy. I think you'll enjoy this episode very much. As always, many thanks to our sponsor, Lone Star Directional Drilling. Well, I appreciate you getting in here today. I know you're one hell of a busy guy. You've got a lot of weight on your shoulders, especially these days. So I appreciate you getting in here.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
I figured you'd be happy with the location too. We're ironically right beside the Calgary Shooting Center here in Calgary, so it's perfect timing.
Yep. And when I go over there, I'll say Kevin sent me. See if I get a discount.
Yes.
I'll name drop you.
See
what that's. Yeah.
See if they remember me from my testing, being a new PAL owner. I guess we can get into that too, but obviously a ton to cover today. And Rod, being the CEO for the Canadian Coalition of Firearms Owners, Firearms Rights Association. Did I nail it?
Yeah, Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.
For Firearm Rights. Yeah, I got it all. I had a big abbreviation yesterday. I had the Canadian Constitution for Canadian Freedoms.
Okay.
Justice Center for Canadian. Anyway, Jesus, all these abbreviations get you all over the place.
The JCCF, the CCFR.
Yeah, GND.
Yeah, there you
go.
go.
A little easier. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate getting in here. I guess maybe even being kind of new to taking an appreciation for the protection of firearms owners and rights. I think it's an important discussion, and it's a super, super hot topic. I mean, I feel like it has been for at least the last decade. We're amping up more so maybe the last 5, 6. Mm-hmm. But I maybe wanted to get a little bit of your backstory, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us how you found yourself even coming into contact with, let's say, the first gun.
Well, you're mildly aware of what the backstory is, but basically, I didn't grow up as a firearm owner. I grew up in the city. I lived in the Lower Mainland most of my life, Lower Mainland of Vancouver.
Yeah,
and I never knew anyone that had guns. I never knew anyone that hunted. I never was ever curious about firearms or anything. But I ended up building a career in business development. That sounds so much more sophisticated than sales, but anyway, and part of my duties were I was working with Canadian manufacturers to develop distribution channels in the United States primarily. Mm-hmm. So one of my clients, I worked sort of with the Goods and Services Administration of the U.S. government. I worked with Johnson Controls and Honeywell and AT&T.
Wow, some big names there.
Yeah. So it was challenging. But so that was in my early 30s, and I had a lot of clientele that were in the U.S. military, so the Marine Corps, the Air Force, some National Guard, the U.S. Navy. So when you were trying to sell products, I always tell people, I wish it was a more glamorous story. I was selling missiles or something, but it wasn't. It was
Lord of War.
Yeah. It was building controls. So,
okay,
if you want to have a nap, then now's the time to do it. We'll talk about building controls.
Exciting, yeah.
But anyway, when you sell to the U.S. military, typically your liaison to get you in and out of these bases, and the person you're primarily selling to are ex-military. And so I was paired up with a retired Marine Corps major, Major Paul Mangum.
Okay.
And we can actually talk about Major Paul after, but he was really great, a great person to work with. So I was in Southern California working some of the bases there, in particular Vandenberg Air Force Base and Camp Pendleton Marine Corps Base, which is about 100 kilometers north of San Diego, California. So anyway, long story short, Paul and I were on, we were going to go on to Camp Pendleton. But we met up with some other guys at a Denny's for breakfast first. And these were other guys in the industry and what have you, but they were all ex-military. So I'm sitting there at the table. I've never even seen a gun before, really, other than on a police officer's hip kind of thing and on TV. And they start talking about guns. And I'm just like, I don't know why anybody would need a gun.
Yeah, were you uncomfortable? Or you just didn't get it?
Well, I mean, you're always going to feel a little bit intimidated. It's like, well, I don't know anything about this, and I don't get any of this stuff. And I was sort of your typical urban Canadian, right? Like, oh, you Americans and your guns. And, you know, I'm not going to say I was kind of looking down at the whole thing, but I was just like, I don't get it. So they were kind of working on me a little bit. They're like, free societies. In free societies, people have firearms. They have the ability to protect themselves. They have the ability to project force. Should they need to do that to protect the people that are themselves who are under their protection? Like, this is, slaves don't have guns, citizens do. And so they were saying a lot of things, and I'm like, okay, well, I sort of get that, but look at all these shootings and school shootings.
Of course.
And,
you know, because the mind goes.
Well, you're fed this, you know, a steady diet of a one-sided conversation. So anyway, we leave there, we go to Pendleton, you know, Paul and I'll skip some of the story, but Paul and I are talking, and we're talking about guns. And I said, well, you know what? I'd like to shoot a handgun, right? That would be pretty cool. And he's like, no problem. There is a gun range 5 minutes outside of the gates of Pendleton. That range is still there. It's called Iron Sights. Okay. And you can rent a gun for $5. God bless America. And go there, and they have the range inside the store, much similar to a couple of doors down here, and you can go shoot a handgun. And we rolled in there, and there's guns all over the walls, and they all look like machine guns to me, right? Because I just didn't know anything. And I'm like, holy smokes. And the girl at the counter's got a pistol on her hip. And I said to him, I'm like, is that thing loaded? He's like, it's no good to anybody if it's not loaded.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. Right. And I'm like, that just doesn't sound safe to me, right? So we get our guns. We go in. He gives me a quick little course. We shoot, you know, handguns. I'm sweating bullets for literally. I'm sweating bullets. I was very, very nervous I remember 60 rounds. And because this was a transformational experience in my life where I had all this anxiety, all of these preconceived notions, the same preconceived notions that my political adversaries have. Yeah. And anyway, we shot about 300 rounds. I paid because he's my customer. Yep. So I pay, say goodbye to my customer, and I have to drive in the rental car 60 miles, right, 100 kilometers back to San Diego to my hotel. I'm driving down there, and I'm just no music on or nothing, just staring out at the road. And I'm like, what was this experience? Like, it really changed me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is going on? Why?
Shot of adrenaline, right?
Well, adrenaline, and there was all kinds of things going on. You know, I think part of it is I was considering that I may have been wrong about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I'm always open to that, which is important if you want to be a reasonable human. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm saying that for a reason, but because I deal with a lot of people who are like, I can't be wrong. You know, even if I am, I just can't be viewed as wrong.
On that. If you're on the Twitter sphere X, I mean, it's just a cesspool of
absolutely.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I'm not mastered, but you know what I mean? I conquered a machine that I was deathly afraid of for the first 15 minutes, right? And I'm like, what is going on? So I got to the hotel. I stood there for a second, looked around, and it's 5 o'clock at night. And then I took my suit off, put my street clothes on, and I drove 100 kilometers right back up there, shot another 300 rounds by myself.
Did you?
Yeah. And I was like, I need to get a gun.
You were jacked up.
Yeah. So anyway, to finish off the story, I ended up coming back to Canada. And I did a bunch of research because I told my wife, you know, hey, this is what I did down there. Yeah. And I'm considering getting a gun. I think we should get a gun. And she's like, there'll never be a gun in this house because we had small kids.
Of course.
And I'm like, okay. Incrementalism is the key to that, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you're probably right. You know, so bit by bit. And I also, to be honest, I was not sure whether I was morally correct in wanting to do that.
Yeah, you were conflicted.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of research and really, really dug into it. And I went, you know what? This is the conversation around private firearm ownership in Canada is full of disinformation. Yeah. It's chock full. Mm-hmm. And so, and that was one of the many rabbit holes that I've fallen down into in my life, but that was another one. And researched it, and I got hyper focused on shooting this handgun. My handgun was that same handgun that I shot. It was the same one I bought as my first gun.
Of course, yeah, because that's all you knew, and
And
like,
then
that's the one.
yeah, and then fast forward, I ended up starting a training business. I became a firearms instructor for the RCMP Canadian Firearms Program while continuing to do business development full time.
Yeah,
because I'm a workaholic. I like to work.
yeah,
And fell into this thing with the CCFR and then television and podcasts. And,
oh yeah, all over the place.
Yeah, just all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing story, and I think it's an important one because, like we were talking earlier, grabbing our coffee. I think, yeah, there's just well, you mentioned disinformation, but there's a lot of Canadians that, like myself before, they don't know about the gun industry, and because of what we're fed every day in the media and news articles or wherever you're getting your information, and we're fed that guns are the problem. So it's pretty easy to go there. And if we could swap stories for a sec. I'll tell you how I think many people would look at me with my giant duster and assume I'm a gun guy. I was never a gun guy either. All my buddies hunt. A lot of buddies hunt, and then a lot of buddies shoot. And so I had gone out hunting one time with some friends, and then we do a lot of these clay shoots in the energy sector, and it's actually called Clays for the Cottage. Raises a ton of money for children and families in need. And you would go to Silver Willow. You might be familiar, but anyway, it's a clay shooting course, like a golf course style. And every time I would go, I was like, damn, that is fun. Like, it's
great.
so fun. And but I talked about owning a gun for a long time, and it wasn't because I didn't have one because I was afraid of guns. We have a child as well. But then I think over COVID, it started shifting to like, geez, like protection, and the world was kind of crazy. Maybe we should have protection. But then it turned for me. I had like a list of friends that we talked about. We should one day, and I kept building up that list. But then I came home one night, not that long ago, in the last 2 years, on the west side of town. I came home, and I was just playing hockey with some buds. Went to pull into my street, and we have a real extra long street. It's a boulevard. And I pulled up, and there were cops there, and they wouldn't let me in. And they said, there was like a real young officer, and I said, what's going on here? And he said, I don't know a lot, but there's a stay in order in place for this street, and I think there's a guy running around with a gun. And I was like, holy shit, what are you talking about? So I drove away, got on my phone, called my wife a million times, couldn't get through, and so I had the panic going on.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a shooter on the loose. So I drive all the way around. She's not answering. It's a real long street. Like I said, I get to the other side, and there's 15 cop cars on the other end of my street. There's 2 entrances. So I roll up to them, and right as I got her, she answered as I was pulling up, and I said, grab the little tiny bat I have beside my bed, grab our daughter, turn the lights off, and go downstairs. And she's like, well, she's got a fever, and Jesus, I just put her down. And I'm like, listen, cop just told me there's a shooter on the loose. You need to go downstairs. Then I talked to the officers. They explained the situation. It was actually isolated in a house. There was an incident with a guy with some issues. After that, though, we weren't allowed to get into our street for a real long time, and I went with my buddy's wife, who also couldn't get home. We went to the pub and talked to our families to make sure everything was cool until they let us back. But the conversation quickly shifted at home that, geez, at least we should have some protection. And my wife didn't think twice. Absolutely. In fact, she was going to come with me, but. So to make my longer story short, I went over right here. I finally signed up, and a big group of us went, probably 10 of us went, and we finally got our PAL. And that's just for sheer protection. But I also want to do some shooting, and I want to be able to hunt. And I see that it's an asset. It's your right. It's your property. So I get that argument now. It is your property, and I don't like what they're doing. So, and what they're doing is you can get right into it, but
Mm-hmm.
this gun buyback, where was it first born, and where are we at right now? There's all kinds of, like you say, disinformation out there.
Well, I think with most people, as it was with me, once you become a gun owner, you can't imagine yourself not having guns.
Right.
And I think it's for a number of reasons. And not to sidestep your question, we'll get to that
Yeah,
right away. Just because I'm listening to your story and I'm like, everyone who has no exposure to firearms, has no reason to own a gun, all of a sudden something happens, or they make a decision, or they just get interested. Oh, I want to sport shoot or whatever. They get firearms and it changes them. I was forever changed as a person. And I think one of the reasons why people at the top of our society, the Laurentian elites and their counterparts anywhere in any country, they don't like what happens to people when they get guns or develop as individuals. And the reason for that is because you have this feeling of independence and self-reliance. So the feeling that I got was, if I ever needed food, I can find it myself.
Yep.
If God forbid I'm in a life and death situation, I don't need to sit there with the cell phone and trembling hands calling another man with a gun to come and help me and maybe save my family.
That'd be a shitty spot. Yeah.
It is a slap in the face to strong people to say, no, you are neutered and you sit and hide in the closet. And you know what? If they don't want your jewelry, they just want to kill somebody. Sorry, you're just going to have to die.
Yeah.
And I reject that.
Can't fathom that.
So anyway, it's this. And then the other thing I do want to address is in Canada, it is not a legal reason, a legitimate reason to own a firearm is not self-defense.
Right.
So, the bureaucracy, and this is actually an interesting thing too, because the bureaucracy tells us hunting, sport shooting, collecting, and inheritance. Those are your 4 primary legal reasons. And while the bureaucracy tells us self-defense is not a legitimate reason to acquire or possess a firearm, the law actually does.
Right.
So in the Firearms Act, in Section 20, 28, and 117, all 3 of those sections mention protection of life in association with firearms. And so it's just interesting, right? Like it's the police, it's the bureaucracy, it's politicians, and it's the media. These are the people that are telling you that is an inappropriate reason to own or use a firearm. Just interesting.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's nuts. It's wild how they control the narrative that way.
Well, they hold a PAL away from you,
right?
If you say that, they're like, oh, that's not a legitimate reason, even though it actually is.
It is.
So it's interesting.
Well, and I mean, just further on the PAL, I have to say, I had heard how, what's the word? Like how well they vet you to obtain your license. It's so fresh in my brain because I just did it. And I'm happy to say to people, it was crazy. I mean, in a good way, how they vetted. You have to have a couple of references to confirm your identity via photo picture, and they will talk to them, and they have to be real people, and then they actually talk to your spouse.
Yeah, they have to sign off.
They have to sign off. Is there a recent job loss? Is there, a change in anything around you socially? Finding the mental state of said person applying. And I love that. It's great. Like they're I can say we now, the most vetted in the nation. I'll talk about Canada specifically. We're the most vetted of people walking amongst us, which is incredible.
Well, don't forget the 28-day waiting period.
Yeah.
After, right, once you apply.
Yeah.
Don't forget the criminal record checks every 24 hours for the rest of your life.
24 hours.
There are a million regulations. In fact, it's interesting. If you look at the all-time fantasies of gun control advocates in the United States, if you looked at their wish list, Canada has every one of those things.
Right.
Every one of them. And then you have the government saying, oh, well, this is just simply isn't enough. And gun control people in Canada, this isn't enough. this is just so easy to get a gun. It's like, oh,
It's
it's preposterous.
Well, hey man, I played hockey down in the States. I had the privilege of playing some semi-pro down there, and I played in some places. In Kansas, Michigan. I mean, you can walk into any pawn shop anywhere, anytime, and buy a gun. We don't have that here, and we're not advocating for that at all. How many gun owners are there legal now? Over 2 million. I don't. How many are there?
It's just over 2.4 million.
Yeah.
And a really interesting stat for you is there are more people, speaking of hockey, there are more people in Canada, actually quite a bit more, that are licensed to own handguns and AR-15s, this is back when they were legal, right? Than play organized hockey. So there are about 550,000 registered hockey players. I'm not talking pickup here, right? But you know what I mean? Like there are in league hockey,
minor
right?
hockey, yeah.
Well, league hockey
League,
of
any
all
league.
ages.
Yeah.
And then there are, well, right now, I think there's over 800,000 people that have a restricted PAL.
That's a good one.
But you would never know that. And you would never know
wouldn't.
that this group is just under 2.5 million Canadians are stakeholders in this whole buyback thing. You would never know that because CBC won't show that to you. So I have a particular bone to pick with CBC because they keep telling the disinformation network, because they're like, oh, we're just a reflection of Canada's social fabric, right? It's like, oh yeah, go to CBC's news website and type in trap shooting. I think there's 2 stories in CBC history. Go in there, type in IPSC, IPSC, right? This is the biggest handgun competition organization in the world.
Yeah.
You might find one. Type in something completely absurd, there'll be 50 hits. So it's a big group.
Let's talk about that. Why do you think, like, if we're already, Canadians are divided on everything. That's just the way we are. Well,
we haven't always been like that.
True. Yeah, and that would be a whole other 4-hour podcast.
I know, because I'm old.
Are you? Yeah. Well, how old are you? You don't have to say. I'm 52.
57.
57?
No, 56 and a half.
Okay. Yeah. 51 and a half. Yeah, I know. We're old. Yeah. So now we're the old gun rights advocates, I guess. But why do you think they shape the narrative that way in Canada? Like, when we already know we have these really strong laws for firearms and owning, and we know that 95%, you can correct me, that of illegal guns come from the United States over the border. Why do you think they shape it that way? Is it all about voting? Is it truly they think that's what tugs at a left-leaning heartstring? What do you think?
Well, all of those things, right? So it's usually you have more than one reason to do something.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case with gun control. It wins votes in Eastern Canada and Central Canada, specifically in Quebec. Some bad things have happened there. Absolutely, right? Like I approach firearm advocacy entirely honestly. If I think that there's a problem with licensed gun owners or there's a gap in the system, I will readily admit it, because I have kids. Well, they're adults now, but you know what I mean? Like, I want a safer Canada also. Of
course.
Right? I'm not at odds with anyone's goals about making Canada safer, because I have to live here too. So there's a vote incentive that has been diminishing. Actually, Trudeau pushed it too hard.
Yep.
And the other thing is the people that are in the ruling class in Canada, and probably societies around the world, they just don't think you should have guns.
Yeah.
They think that you should come with your hat in hand to the government, accept whatever level of protection that they're going to offer, and that should be good enough for you. Whatever level of rights they think you are deserving of, and that should be sufficient. You shouldn't push back against that. There really is that air. And then if you look at something like CBC, it really is just a matter of, if you opened a business and you only hired alcoholics, what's going to happen is you're going to have a couple of people in your business that aren't alcoholics, and they're going to be like, I cannot work here.
Right.
I can't do it anymore. And then what happens is other alcoholics, let's say it's the CBC, they're like, the CBC's higher, and we can get away with anything over there, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to show up, and those are going to be the people. And then later, as over time, you're like, holy smokes, every single person in here is an alcoholic.
Right.
So, you know, that's just how it works. That happens in governments.
Yeah.
You
Bloated
know,
bureaucracy.
well, it's just you create this atmosphere. All the good people, you know, whatever. I'm not implying anything, but anyway, all the people of one persuasion exit because they can't take it, and you're attracting people that will fit in there, and then you shouldn't be surprised of what you end up with, right? So that's how that happens. So I think you have urban, pretentious, self-important, you know, oblivious. You know, anyway, I know these are all sound like pejoratives, but it's just, this is how you attract a certain mindset of people in an organization. And after a while, the organization actually can't be reformed.
Yeah. It can't, it's just ingrained.
Yeah. It's just, there's too many people like that, right?
Too many.
So,
and it's, you mentioned that obviously the urban versus rural. And I moved from, I grew up in Cambridge. So kind of a city boy. Most of my buddies were farmers. But then I came west when I was 18, and when I went to Saskatchewan, I got to really embrace the rural life. I got to work on a farm. I learned how to be a farmhand and shoot guns and shoot gophers and all that. It's just a way of life, and I'm not suggesting it's only rural, because obviously there's a lot of urban that into sport shooting and hunting and all the same things. But there is a divide there, I guess, for sure, that they just don't understand that way of life, and therefore they just deem it wrong because they don't know about it. They don't understand it.
They don't know, and then their preconceived notions are obtained through osmosis by everyone else that they interact with, right?
Yeah,
and that's how you form a culture. And I guess in this case, it's a negative culture. But I do want to say that we do get some coverage on CBC, nowhere near as much as would be fair. But we do get some, and there are some CBC journalists that do reach out to us, and we do end up with stories and stuff, but it's such a small amount. You know, for every 10 stories where they'll interview, you know, probably CCFR or one of these anti-gun groups, we'll get one opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
And
heavily slanted.
And Canadian press, absolute garbage. We get no coverage there at all.
They won't touch it. Yeah.
No, it's only the anti-gun side of the story. And so other media, mainstream media outlets as well. It's a real struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but I mean, it's too bad. But so speaking of, I guess, you know, CBC or media coverage. This is from, people can go obviously to your site, CCFR. And you've got I think you've got over 100,000 subscribers on there and growing. But here's a great clip of the leaked audio from this, who a lot of people are calling hero,
Big Gary
versus Big Gary. He storms into his office. I just want to play this clip because he does touch on Quebec here. Let's watch this.
You know what's wrong? Quebec, for example, is in a very different place in Ontario. Right?
We're talking about Canada. It's federal. It's not provincial.
I get it. Quebec is in a different place than other parts of Canada, right? And this is something that is very much a big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us, right? And that's one of the major things. I think it's. I'm sure you've seen these articles where people have said, you know, this is one of the things we should not execute, like as a change from Trudeau's policies, but we've made the decision to go ahead.
You know, something. You have a minority government right now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moving pieces on the chessboard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we're worried about the longest undefended border, between Canada and the United States, and we know where the firearms are coming from.
Yeah.
And more than 95% are traced back to our
U.S. Absolutely, 100%,
right?
100%. Like I brought it up to Secretary Noem. I met her a week and a half ago in London, right? And I said, and she was actually surprised because she didn't know.
Right. Evil people are going to do evil things, and there's nothing that you or I or anyone else can do to prevent that, because you can't fix what you don't know.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. But
Listen,
Ultimately,
the
when
commitment I can make to you, Sean, is that like going forward, we'll have like much better.
No, you're going to turn me into a criminal here because you know I'm not going to turn mine in. I'm telling you right now. I refuse to.
Yeah, and that's fine.
That guy's a hero.
He is. That's Sean. He's a CCFR member. He sent that leaked audio to us, and we leaked it. That guy has got courage because he's a tenant in Big Gary's apartment building.
Okay.
I think it's an apartment building because
Yeah.
he owns a few buildings in Ontario,
Yeah.
and that's one of his tenants. So he took a big risk.
He did.
To leak that and to record it. So
Yeah.
he's a hero.
Well, he is a hero.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. What Gary is suggesting in regards to Quebec, right?
It's all about votes in Quebec. Yeah.
It's about voting, and they're the ones driving the numbers. So let's talk about then when they first rolled it out, the pilot project, Cape Breton. I think they got something like 22 guns. You would have the exact figure.
Yeah, from 16 people or something like
16
that.
people.
Yeah, 12 or 16.
Yeah. And so, but they're asking people to first simply register. This is how it starts. Just a little crack. Just register. Just put your name on there. What do you think their goal is there?
Well, they so in Canada you have 3 classes of firearms, right? Non-restricted, restricted, and prohibited.
Yeah.
So we can't get prohib licenses unless we are movie armorers or or a manufacturer or something like that. So for me and you, we get restricted or non-restricted.
Yeah.
So restricted firearms in Canada are registered. So the government knows what the make, model, serial number. They know where they're stored. They know who owns them. They know where they're transporting them to. All the rest of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have non-restricted firearms. So during the Harper government, they ended the long gun registry, meaning that the government lost track of around 7.5 million individual firearms. So there was really no way to trace those guns. So along come these liberals, and they're like, okay,
We got to find them all.
we don't have any information. It's not that they actually, Kevin, it's not that they don't have information. They just don't have anything that's binding. So even like I bought guns in the long gun registry days, the government was legally supposed to delete they didn't delete nothing. They all have copies of it somewhere. I don't trust these people. They lie constantly, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I could have disposed of that firearm between back then and now legally, and there should be no record. There's some record keeping that came into force on May 18th, 2022. So I hate to make this so complicated, but before May 18th, 2022, you basically have deniability on any non-restricted firearm you ever owned.
Yeah.
So what the government says is, well, let's see what kind of information we can get on these guns.
See what we can get. Yeah.
And then if once they have your information, they can force you to surrender those firearms, or they can just sit back and wait, which is what they'll probably do, and just wait to see if you're going to be a problem, like I am. And then they'll be like, we have reason to believe that you have this list of firearms. You haven't declared them. The amnesty is now over. So that's all they need to get a search warrant for your home. That's a gun call. So it's not a general duty RCMP member that's going to be banging on your door. Hey, Rod, we know you have these guns. We need them, buddy. You can't keep them. It's the Bearcats getting parked on your front lawn. Yeah. They may knock, or they may breach and throw flashbangs in there and come in with AR-15s, oddly enough, pointed at you and your family because this is a gun call. They don't know. So this is the scenario that's playing out.
Yeah, I don't know. It is bananas that it's gotten to this point. And so beyond that, I guess, too, like, so first they do this rollout. It's a flop in Cape Breton. It's a complete flop. Now it's, at least from what I'm gathering in the community, no, people are just simply not going to comply for the most part. I guess I'm sure a lot are worried about it becoming illegal. But this amnesty period, they have till end of October.
Correct.
And so I guess as they continue this push right now, and then if people aren't going to comply, then what? Then what?
It's going to be a problem. So it's my understanding that like this this buyback program, as it were, it's a confiscation program, obviously, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But it, we'll just call it a buyback for now. It's failing.
Yeah.
People aren't complying. A very small number of people are telling the government what they have. But I just want people to understand, like, the government is doing this. When they close that portal, they're closing it. And when that amnesty runs out, they're not renewing it. That's my information. They don't care what the fallout is. And you're probably talking about, I don't know, 800,000, 600,000 Canadians that are going to be sitting there with firearms that in the eyes of the law are machine guns.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, let's get into that after. But yeah.
Yeah, they're doing this, and they don't care how it wrecks your life. This is a different time in Canadian history, unlike any other. This is a group of people that have a hold of the reins, and they don't care. They're making an omelet, and they don't care how many eggs have to get broken to make it, right?
Yeah, it's true.
What that omelet is, I guess we could speculate about that, but they don't care about people like you and me. We're nothing to them.
Yeah, and it's a scary time. But I think I was listening to Tracy, your vice president, I guess, communications, public relations. Obviously, love both you guys.
Wilson,
Tracy Wilson. Yeah, she's phenomenal. But yeah, she was mentioning just the other day that just to gun owners that listen, a lot of things can happen. I mean, there could be an election that these things tend to die once a session is ended, or things can happen, right? So was trying to set, I think, a lot of them at ease. So do you agree with that? Do you think they should? I don't know. Like, I guess I'm trying to see, like, what message do you want to give to gun owners right now? What message do you want to give to them?
The message is that you're going to have to make your own decision.
Yeah.
So the information, it's good to have all the information, right?
Yeah.
So right now, they say that there's money left in the program. And I think, when last I checked, it was somewhere around 22,000, 23,000 firearms had been registered for this program. They apparently, depending on the guns that they get, they can afford to pay for 136,000 of them.
Yeah, I read 136,000.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Depending, right? Because there's some guns that are now prohibs, double barrel rifles worth $100,000.
Right.
But they're basing this on $1,800 average per firearm.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people, there are some amount of people that ran in when the portal opened that are maybe older guys. They're just like, I just got to get rid of these guns. And, I don't even care about them. I think there's also a component, a demographic of people that are like, I really need this freaking money right now.
Need the money, sure.
Yeah, I really need the money. And I get that, right?
Yeah,
like, I'm not so hard on, you get online, right? It's like,
stand your ground.
Don't cuck out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you can't put yourself in some, you look at someone else's situation from your perspective, right? People learn, anyway, all that to say. But understand there's money left there. If the money starts going fast, you could tell the government what you have and not get paid. There's always that possibility. But no matter what, once they close that portal, you're not getting any money. I'm not saying to go for it. Like,
no.
I haven't done it myself.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. So
yeah, you disagree. That's your stance.
And I'm going to lose a lot of money, but at the same time, whatever, right? We're all making our own decisions.
Yeah. Yep.
But as things go on, we're going to end up at the end of October. And the minute that the amnesty ends, you will have either turned those firearms in for destruction, decided you're going to hang on to them and weather the consequences, whether that's warrants and charges and jail time and fines and whatever, or just hid them, move them out of your home, or you've paid out of your own pocket to have them deactivated. So that costs somewhere between $400 and $700 each.
Yeah.
So now if you have the firearm deactivated, it no longer is a firearm. So if you have an AR-15, you take it, you pay your $700 out of your own pocket. You're losing the gun, probably $2,500 rifle. You're paying another $700 to deactivate it to make Big Gary happy and Carney. And now you can put it on your wall legally.
I was going to say,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, we could put guns all over the studio. It would be great, right? Like which is probably what I'll do with some of my stuff, because things like AR-15s, they're registered. There is no deniability that I have that firearm. And the fact that I have AR-15s and other firearms that are restricted and registered, the government's just sitting there waiting for November 1st.
They're waiting
to go get a warrant for Rod's house. Like people like me will be the ones getting our doors kicked in. The average citizen, because people are...
Do you think they will? Do you think they'll actually kick indoors? You think that's where
my
it's going?
door, for sure.
Your door.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because I'm a troublemaker, right?
Yeah.
But I think, and this is important too, right? As part of the calculus of making your own decision is, guys are like, they don't have the resources. They'll never go door to door. It's like, that's true. But this is not what they want to do. They don't care. So they will just leave all that out there forever. And guys will have a house fire or a break-in, or maybe they get sick of it and they take their gun out to the bush. I'm shooting my AR, screw it. They get caught, whatever. 20, 30, 50 guys a year will get caught with these guns, have their lives decimated. I don't know what a criminal weapons charge would do, a criminal conviction would do to your life, but it would ruin mine.
Destroy it.
Yeah, because we're not criminals, right?
Yeah.
So, and they'll leave it like that forever. So, in summary, you can take part in the buyback, but you won't know whether you're getting paid until you tell the government what you have first, and they'll tell you after whether they're going to pay you.
Shortchange you.
Right? Or you can just stay silent. You can legally still hold on to this thing till the end of October, but by October 30th, you will have already needed to take that action if you still want to be on the right, as it were, side of the law.
Yeah.
So deactivation, surrender for no compensation. I think there's export, but I mean, I don't know who exports guns, but anyway, I've been researching that. I don't even think that's actually an option because the firearms program is being a little weird about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Or they just disappear forever and you claim, I don't know what happened, and take your chances. So that's what you got.
Okay. No, well said. I like the, got to deliver some kind of a unified message to everybody. And like you said, it's your own choice, and some will be afraid and some will need the money. And like you said, every case is different. But in there, you did mention the destruction of the guns after. So who's contracted to do the destroying of the guns?
Well, there were various rumors about who was contracted to do that. And I mean, there's a lot of evidence, right? Dealers are like, this is where I was told to send the guns.
Right.
From the retail buyback.
Yeah.
So, and this happens to be around the corner from another large business that almost their entire business is with the government. And anyway, there's all that stuff.
Okay.
But apparently there's been an interruption in that service, and that stalled this is my understanding, right? I'm not on the inside.
Sure.
But yeah, I think what'll end up happening is the Liberals rushed this out.
Yeah. Sure, they did.
Like they are,
yeah.
And this is actually kind of an interesting, we can speculate about this, an interesting thing, because if you think about it from a perspective, you're familiar with business, I think.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with business also.
Yeah.
If I was creating a portal and a program that involved, possibly 1 million Canadians out of that 2.45 million, I would want to make sure that everything's in place and whatever before I rolled it out. So they did this ridiculous pilot project in Cape Breton. They got 25 guns from 12 or 16 people. And they're like, oh, we learned some lessons. Like, it's all BS, right? Sure it is. It's an insult to anyone with any experience's intelligence. But anyway, they're like, oh, we learned all these lessons. And it's like, well, you couldn't have done that yourself.
Right.
In a software sandbox, or they go, oh, well, I'm going to enter a gun. Oh, did
CRM,
did it log my gun? Like, just so stupid, right? But anyway, they're like, oh, we learned our lessons. And then they're like, okay, well, now that it really was a failure with 24 people or 22 people or whatever it was, we're going to roll it out to 1 million people across the entire geography of Canada. That's 10 million square kilometers.
Yeah.
And, and we think there's around 2 million of these previously non-restricted, now prohibited firearms in circulation. So the idea that they were going to buy back 136,000 when we think there's over 2 million in circulation is a little weird.
It's already,
But
doesn't make sense.
They threw the door open.
They just went, they rushed it.
Yeah.
And he's been caught on tape saying, Big Gare, that it is rushed, and they shouldn't, but that's his mandate.
There's a lot of weird things going on. Like, why are you in such a rush?
Yeah.
Anyway, I have my own theories, but I don't know that any of them are correct. But
can only speculate.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, everything just boils down to votes. Really, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
They got to do a lot to do with it.
I think there's a lot of moving pieces. I think the world is changing a lot. And there is apparently, I just heard the Prime Minister says there's a new world order coming.
Well,
and he's trolling us, right? He's like,
he clearly
everyone
was
who's
trolling.
everyone's running for the tinfoil because of new world orders. Like,
Well,
that's what I knew it.
The way he said it, even right, he slowed down the new world order. Like he sounded like Darth Vader.
It's too bad that Melanie Jolie wasn't nearby and went dun 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 in the in a mic. She was close enough to do it, but she missed her opportunity.
Well, my favorite was Scott Moe's head. It almost snapped off his body when he.
I feel so bad for Scott Moe.
I know he's in a bad spot.
Yeah, right. He's like, "Are you joking me right now?"
I didn't sign up for this.
You just blew me up. But anyway,
on stage.
That's how how this guy rolls. But
it's true. Yeah,
poor Scott Moe.
The creeping control. Well, that's why you see a bit of the separation movement. We don't have to get into that today, but it's obviously pretty big here. I was at the event on Monday. It's pretty big. It's pretty big.
It's funny because politics is just such a wild animal, and 40% of the population are, they're easily brainwashed, right? They're easily gaslit. They break. COVID broke a lot of people.
It did. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that were broken anyway, and now it's even worse. With the whole elbows up thing, anyway, it's people believe a lot of stuff that is demonstrably false.
Well, and they need to start, and this is why they're afraid of independents and creators and non-mainstream media that isn't bought. This is why they want to shut it down.
Actual conversations, right?
Just a conversation. Like, what is this today for real? We're having a chat.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about things. Let's talk it out.
And I do not say anything false.
No.
Because ever, I'm so
you have to be
fixated.
Careful.
Well, this is the thing, right? I would lose credibility. And besides, I have so much going on in my life that if I started telling lies, I'd be screwed because I would never remember them.
Right.
So I just got to remember what's true, and that's the easiest way. So anyway, the only thing I did want to add was when you talk about independence, that's where I was going with this whole politics is so crazy. Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, if you look at things from a regional perspective, of course people want to break out of here. They see Quebec. You only need, you cannot win a federal election without winning Quebec.
You can't.
And you can't do it without winning Ontario. And everybody else can screw themselves, apparently.
Yeah.
And I get the demographic makeup. There's more people there. I get that. But it's like you are dragging a lot, tens of millions of people along with the ridiculous decisions of a handful of people in other areas. Of course, people are like, we can't vote our way out of this mess.
We can't. Yeah.
What else?
Every election is so frustrating, especially in the West or anywhere west of Manitoba or Northern Ontario. I don't want to alienate the rural Ontarians because they turned up last eleation.
Absolutely,
a lot of them, there's 25 seats flipped, but
they're held captive too.
They are,
right, and that's the problem. And it's funny, Kevin. Going back to the fact that not so much you, but I'm old.
Getting there.
Politics, Oh, don't worry, you'll catch up. Politics is just so different now than it used to be. Before, you could debate. Conservative versus liberal, right? Because liberals used to be centrists, right? That's why they were the de facto ruling party, because Canadians typically are centrists, right? Typically. Yeah. And the whole, if you voted liberal, and let's say in the days of Stephen Harper, there was a conservative government, like your life really didn't change that much. You were a little bit more prosperous. Yeah. And maybe if you're looking for free stuff, maybe you'd have a little bit less free stuff, but it wasn't some, like it wasn't the pendulum slamming one way or the other. Yeah. Yeah. And so if you lost an election, you weren't angry at your fellow people. You weren't running around like when Stephen Harper won, that killed the first kind of independence movement in Alberta because it was like, okay, back to the way things should be and reasonable, and everybody sort of was okay. Yeah. Then this different group of people, these aren't liberals, by the way, in the Liberal Party. These are extreme alt-leftists. Like, this is not the same. I voted for Chrétien. I voted for Paul Martin.
Chrétien was fantastic.
Well,
I mean, he was in comparing.
I knew a lot less about politics, but still I was a liberal.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
a liberal voter. And then I became a conservative because I started getting older and going like, I want to have something someday and
Yeah.
maybe be able to retire not in poverty. I'm like, okay, well,
That tends to
conservative,
happen.
conservative policies make sense.
Yeah.
But then you have this group of people, and that's why you're like, these people are so extreme. They are radicals. And now you're like, I got to get out of here somehow. So I don't know how anyone, even if you're in Quebec, can blame Alberta for going, we need a plan B. This just isn't working. You know, like it's not unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, and then their entire existence is in Quebec. It is a separatist party. They don't even run. He doesn't run to be the prime minister.
Yeah.
But it's accepted, and they control all the voting. So this drives the frustration in the
But
West.
that's okay for them, but
It's
not
good
okay for
them.
you.
We're traitors.
Yeah.
We're and I say we. There's a lot maybe that disagree, but there's a lot that are on board with pushing the envelope here and pushing for the vote.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, if I think if Quebecers or Ontarians were that worried about Alberta independence and they were like, oh, you know, they would sit down like normal people, right? We forget to act like normal people like we used to.
Yeah.
Sit down, go, what are they so angry? Why don't you ask what everybody's
Ask
angry
the
about?
question.
And then go, you know what? That's pretty reasonable. I'm as a Quebecer, let's say I'm a Quebecer. I'm going to go to my Liberal MP and I'm going to tell them like, listen, what you're doing to these people is unfair. You're going to end up destroying the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want you guys to soften your stance on this, this, and this. If you really want unity, you have to treat everybody fairly.
Yeah.
And we have lost that.
We've lost it
On guns, on the economy, on
a laundry
transfer
list.
payments, on everything. Culturally, we've lost it on every front.
Yeah. And every time they just kind of, it's like they put the foot down further. Every time we don't get wins ever. And so, like you said, people need to talk. Well, unfortunately, the referendum is the only thing that will get them talking. I said it in here like last year. I want that referendum so that people sit at their kitchen tables and go, what the hell is going on with these angry Albertans? I want them to have that conversation.
Of course. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
anyway, we had to, naturally, we're going to go down that road.
Well,
Of course,
I
think
it's an important conversation.
It is,
This should be a topic of conversation in this country.
Yeah.
If you want to fix things. If you don't, if you want to just keep escalating, because that's the only thing that government knows how to do is escalate.
Yeah.
That's all they know how to do. If they don't get their way, escalate and keep
Escalate.
escalating right up until people get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? That's all they know how to do. And so anyway.
And then change the narrative. Yeah.
Yep.
I do want to do one more thing with you. I want to put you on the spot just a little bit. I don't even think you're going to be on the spot. This will be an easy one for you. Just for non-gun owners that people who know nothing about guns. What's a prime example of a gun that you can name me that we can show that would be prohibited or illegal, which really is based on its appearance? What's the best example?
Well, I think we
of a
should.
gun.
I think we should do two examples.
Okay.
The Ruger #1.
Okay. Let's pull it up.
Let's pull that one up.
How do I, being a non-gun guy, how do I spell it?
Ruger. It's not Rugger, as Big Gary likes to say. Ruger #1.
Okay, do I put the number in it?
I
or
think
just,
so.
Here, let me.
The number sign pound.
Yeah, let's do that.
If Gary was
Okay,
saying,
let's
he'd
bring
say
it up.
Rugger #1. That's the name of the gun.
Should I pull up an image here?
Yeah.
Let's pull up an
Let's
image.
do that. Oh my goodness. Look at this assault style weapon.
Scary.
It is a single shot break action rifle.
Yes. This is it here.
That's it. That's prohib.
Okay, that's illegal.
Yeah. Now there's debate on whether or not it's prohibited in 308 Winchester, but it's prohibited by name, and it doesn't specify that the smaller calibers are prohibited. So anyway, that's a contentious issue right now. But the Ruger #1
Okay.
is prohib. Now the other thing, so of course it's not an assault weapon.
No.
They prohibited that because in 50 cal it's too big, or I don't know if it comes in 460, but whatever.
Okay.
So, but yeah, too dangerous to own. It's literally machine gun in the eyes of the law.
It's a machine gun, and it's clearly not. Yeah.
So now another one is the GSG-16.
Okay.
That's
This I've pulled up before.
that's the scary looking one that we want to, the aspect.
16.
Yeah, GSG-16.
Yeah. You're all the gun owners watching me are going to be saying, "What an idiot! How does he not know his guns?" I'm just learning.
Okay.
Here we go here.
So for the uninitiated, they would look at that and be like, oh my God, man, it's
Yeah.
a machine gun.
Sure, scary looking.
Well, that's a 22 caliber, 22 long rifle, rimfire.
Yeah, rimfire. Yeah.
Rimfire, semi-auto.
Yep.
That, ran for about $650. I have 2 of those because I was just using them for training. And that's the type of gun that you would give your 14-year-old as their first gun to go shoot gophers, right? Or pots and pans out in the back 40. Not a single piece of that firearm, not one single part is interchangeable with an actual machine gun or anything that is in a caliber more than rimfire. For people that don't know, rimfires, like they're this long.
Yep.
They're
tiny little.
Yeah.
Just learned it. I mean, they look like BBs, they look like little pellets. Yeah.
Half the circumference of a pencil.
Yeah.
It's a pellet gun on steroids. Is it dangerous if you get shot through the skull? For sure. Of
course.
Right. But I mean, anyway, but that is, and so I think the opportunity we have right now is if you look at that and you know that this is like, it's a plinker as people would call it.
Yeah.
It's a toy. It's a probably a dangerous toy to be honest, right?
Sure. It certainly doesn't look like a toy. It
Now
looks scary as hell.
Let's describe it
Yeah.
in liberal terms. That is a firearm designed to kill the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time, a firearm for soldiers to kill other soldiers,
Yeah.
a firearm that is for a military design for military purpose that does not belong in our communities, right? And if you are talking about the anti-gun folks in Canada, they don't call it an assault style weapon. They call it an assault rifle.
Assault rifle.
Yeah.
Which it is not.
It is nowhere near in the same universe as an assault weapon or an assault rifle, but this is the shameless disinformation. So anyway, if this was truly about public safety, we wouldn't be having this part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And if it was truly about public safety, the government would put on the website to the portal, compensation is guaranteed.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Right?
Great point.
Instead of like getting quick, we're going to run on money, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, they're turning it into a frenzy for
Hunger Games, yeah.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have said that. I like that.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm against you to beat you to the portal.
Yeah. Come get that money.
Yeah, exactly. Come get a little bit of this gun money.
Get that money. Oh man. Well, I have learned a lot today, Rod, and I really appreciate you speaking out and being such a voice for the people. I know you've obviously got a large following, and I always learn in here. Like one time, I've had like chuck wagon racers or things that I know nothing about, and I always appreciated it. But what I meant to say is when I have people like that in, they have such a passionate following, like horse people, ranchers, and in this case, gun owners. They're super passionate people, and I think they're good people. They're just like you and I and Victor and anybody else. So I truly appreciate what you're doing. I think you're an important man in this important time in our country.
Yeah, it's a strange time, but you can't give up. You just got to keep pushing forward
Gotta
because
keep
we
going.
have no choice.
No,
There's a lot of people black-pilled out there, and that's not helping.
that isn't helping.
Yeah.
So what's next? What's next for you? What's next in the fight of all fights? What do you got coming?
Well, we just released the biggest gun contest in the history of Canada.
I saw that.
Right, to raise money for our new project. And this project is, right now, the buyback scheme, the confiscation program is becoming very unpopular. There are law enforcement agencies across the country that are lining up against it. We've never seen that before, ever.
Good point. I wanted to bring that up. Good point.
Yeah, and provinces.
Yeah, there's lots, like over 15, last reading, 15 police organizations across Canada, roughly.
And like 2 this morning. Like they're now really
they're all
picking up
coming
steam.
in.
So I don't know how many, I'm trying to write a script for a commercial.
Yeah.
And I have to rewrite it every day because I'm like, okay, that's the old number. It's not,
it's changing
it's
so
not
much.
8 agencies.
Right.
It's now 12 agencies. It's not 5 provinces, now 6 provinces and 2 territories.
Yeah.
So, and over half the country, as far as provincial or territorial governments, are against a government policy. This has never happened before, as far as I'm aware, in Canada. So it's very unpopular. So we have a big project, the biggest ever. Like we're a large organization.
Yeah.
We do things that have never been even attempted by the gun lobby in Canada before, because this is the biggest fight we've ever had. And we're rolling a really big project out. So people should stay tuned to see what we're going to do. And this is within the next 2 weeks.
I love it. I love it. And where can people watch you? You've got like two television shows and podcasts, and where can people find you?
So we have CCFR Radio-On The Air on Wild TV, so that's on cable nationwide. I have my own hunting show actually called My Best Hunt on Wild TV.
Yep.
I think season 1, I don't know if it's still showing, but it'll be back again for season 2 in April of this year. And then, of course, we have the CCFR Radio podcast and all of our other content on all the social media platforms, but primarily, I think, on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. Well, I love it. I appreciate you. Hopefully we can do it again. We'll see where we're at, and hopefully everybody gets to hang on to their property.
Well, we'll see, and I really appreciate the opportunity, Kevin.
Okay. Awesome.
Awesome, man.
I did a bump because my hand can't reach over.